Is standardized testing an accurate reflection of students' intelligence? Educational policy analyst at New York University, Diane Ravitch, states, quote, "Sometimes the most brilliant, intelligent, and creative minds do not shine on standardized tests because they do not have standardized minds." End quote. Standardized testing is used in most schools and institutions globally. It is given in such a way that promotes a supposedly equal and unbiased testing experience. These tests are typically multiple choice, and students are given a set amount of time to finish each section. This seems to be a fair way of testing intelligence, but research has shown quite the opposite. I personally have dealt with some of these issues while undergoing the test-taking experience for myself. Today I will tell you how learning styles, unfair advantages, unnatural environments, and stress are factors of why I believe that standardized testing is not our best option when it comes to measuring students' intelligence. There are some major disadvantages for students when it comes to standardized testing. The first is the aspect of personal learning style. According to Sternberg's triarchic theory of human intelligence, there are three prominent learning styles. The first learning style is analytical learning. The analytical learner focuses on planning, prefers to work alone, and is most comfortable in an ordered environment. Analytical learners have trouble skipping over an unfinished problem before moving on to the next, which can be a major setback on a timed standardized test. The next style is practical learning. Practical learners prefer visual aids, hands-on work, and practicing technical skills. These learners typically lack substance and abstract thinking. This group typically does not perform well on standardized tests because many of these tests are based on abstract thinking. The last style is creative learning. These learners focus on developing ideas, solving problems, and innovation. Creative learners generate ideas easily but have trouble applying them or putting them into action. These are three very different learning styles. They are all expected to perform the same on the same exact test. Along with learning styles, there are also many different teaching styles. With all of these different learners, it is hard to tailor a teaching style that will accommodate everyone. This means that some students will have a disadvantage depending on their teacher. Another major disadvantage is that of financial status. Research conducted at MIT and Harvard University has shown an undeniable correlation between higher income students performing much better on standardized tests than those that come from low-income families. The higher income families also have more opportunities to send their child to standardized test preparation class or hire a private tutor, which on average is about $150 per hour. A study done by the National Center for Children in Poverty showed that every 4 out of 10 students live in what is considered a low-income family. Because of this, they may have a large disadvantage when taking a standardized test and thus applying for college. Next, standardized test grades can be lower based purely on simple concepts such as an unrealistic environment. Standardized tests occur in an artificial setting. They're timed, you can't discuss with other students, you can't ask questions, use references, or ask for help, you can't get up and move around, etc. This is not a real-world learning environment, and it's something that most students are not used to. Something else to consider is the fact that these tests are completely random. Former New York Times education columnist gives an example about a baseball player who had an amazing batting average of 0.332, enough to win MVP for that year. But 7 out of 10 weeks he batted a .2 or lower. He goes on to say, quote, "But what if the team decided to pay him based not on overall performance, but on how he hit during one chosen week? How does 1 week determine their ability? If you picked a random week this season, you would have only had a 7 out of 10 chance of choosing one in which he bat even a .25 or higher." End quote. This is a great analogy for standardized testing. Why are students given a random test on some random week, but for some their entire future is depending on it? This situation sounds unfair because it is. Another aspect is that of stress. A study done by scientists Robert Yerkes and John Dodson has shown a correlation between high levels of stress and low performance on standardized testing. Apart from the stress actually taking the test, many students are dealing with other unknown stressors such as home and family life. Asking these students to fully focus on their knowledge and test well while they're stressed is not a feasible concept. This is not a fair measure of the student's preparation, college readiness, or intelligence. I have now told you a few of the reasons why I believe that standardized testing is an invalid, unfair measure of students' intelligence. I hope that I have made you think about the inaccuracy in standardized tests and made you consider the effects that they can have on these students. Now, I'd like to go back to my opening question. Is standardized testing an accurate reflection of students' intelligence? And if the answer is no, then why are we using such tests to determine whether or not students are going to get into college? Standardized tests leave out a vital piece of information, creativity. Standardized testing does not measure intelligence, but rather they measure how standard the student's thinking is, and in the modern world, creativity is something to be appreciated, not overlooked. Thank you.